Shields up, Iron Breakers. How is everybody doing today? We're going to be talking about Monster Hunter World. So, obviously, if you guys haven't been paying attention, well, I guess it's not that obvious if you haven't been paying attention, but today we've had the release of some new gameplay, specifically gameplay involving all of the weapons that are going to be available in Monster Hunter World, which are pretty much all of the weapons that anyone who's played the game know, but some of you guys might be coming to Monster Hunter World for the very first time, and for that purpose we're going to be talking about the weapons, and I'm also going to be seeing some of these videos and kind of reacting to them, because even though I kind of glossed over them today, I didn't pay too much attention to the details because I specifically wanted to go over those details with you guys in a live stream. So hopefully you guys are ready for some Monster Hunter action, because it is definitely happening. And god damn it, I repeat, I cannot wait for this game to come out so that we can basically immerse ourselves in it and just play it until the end of times. Until the end of times. Okay. Now then, let us get started, shall we? This is obviously just the trailer footage. I just wanted to have something in the background while we were introing the video. So I got all of the weapons here in video format. I downloaded off of Capcom's TV channel, whatever that thing is called. And I think we will start with the all-time classic. Everybody knows the all-time classic. And also one of my favorite weapons in Monster Hunter right now, the sword and shield. Sword and board. Okay, that's the sword and board. These videos are very short. I would like to call out your attention to a couple of things that I personally noticed. If you guys know Monster Hunter, you guys might notice some of these details. So, firstly, we just have the very basic combo. He's just unloading the combo. He's showing that blocking still works pretty much the same as in, for those of you that aren't aware, sword and shield is like, blocking is intended to be a last resource type of thing, which is why when did he get hit? Oh, it was further back. See, when he gets hit here, he reels backwards. It seems like that's still going to be a thing, because even in the current iterations of Monster Hunter, you really don't want to be blocking that much with sword and shield unless you have no other option. It's not the ideal way. Usually you dodge because the weapon is pretty fast. Here you can also see something else, which is you can see the hunter popping an item. This is also a specific characteristic of the weapon sword and shield, because most other weapons, as a matter of fact, I think pretty much all other weapons in the game, you have to unequip the weapon. You have to sheath the weapon in order to use items. And here you can see that he doesn't really sheath the weapon, which is a characteristic of sword and shield. This is what they're showing here. It's like you can still use items while your weapon is out. For those of you that weren't aware of this fact, which I'm assuming there's not going to be that many people, basically if you block and use an item while you have sword and shield, you can keep on going about your business. Same thing here. He's got sword and shield equipped. Now, an interesting thing, though, he grips the sword in the opposite direction. Not sure why that is. It might be because he's getting ready to fire the slinger, but basically he is firing the slinger without sheathing his weapon, just to show you that once again you can not only use items, you can also throw items and do other things that affect the monster without sheathing your weapon. And I know that maybe to some people who are new to Monster Hunter, the concept of sheathing weapon versus not sheathing weapon might not be such a major difference, but because it takes time and because of several mechanics in the game, trust me, it's a big deal, and it's one of the big advantages of sword and shield. Once again, let's look at that so that you guys can see it. So here you see him drinking, and now watch. He's going to fire it, and he still has the weapon out, and he instantly reloads. It's pretty cool. Then the other thing is we have a bit of aerial style action going there, which they've already confirmed that we're not going to have styles, but this move right here is very much in line with what we've come to see in aerial style in Generations. Basically, he's going to springboard off of the monster and then come down with the shield in order to punish him. Obviously, you guys are wondering, why wouldn't he come down with the sword? It's because a particular aspect of sword and shield is because you can do slashing damage as well as blunt damage. And blunt damage is better for stunning monsters. So the purpose of this particular attack that he was doing, I think he was going for a head stun. But it's pretty cool. Like, look, he backs off, and then he springboards on top of the monster, boom, with the shield going down. That is a beautiful attack. And that is also a move that you can do right now in the current iterations of Monster Hunter. I think it's like you attack and then you backdash. And I don't know, I've never done this move all that often because usually I tend to play in Striker, and I don't think Striker has this move. But yeah, it's a move that is also available in the current iteration of Monster Hunter. It just doesn't have that jump at the end. It just does a charge attack forward. That's pretty cool. Sword and Shield, super hyped about it. I love it. I think it's an amazing weapon, and I can't wait to see more of it. Now, in the wake of Sword and Shield, why don't we go for what was considered the more basic? Well, it's not really basic ranged weapon. It's the weapon that you don't have to craft as much ammunition for. You just have to craft like the vials. But this is the weapon that Hengist loved to use back when we played Monster Hunter. So let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at the bow. Now, I'm not much of a bow expert, so I can't really say a whole lot about the differences between bow right now and bow, in Monster Hunter World. But I still want to take a look at it. Okay, a couple of nuances here. Pretty much the bow, as I recall, is based around the number of times you charge it. You would get different kinds of shots, as well as you could get different kinds of arcing shots. So here we see a couple of charges, which is why the weapon is glowing red. The charges in Monster Hunter World are much more subtle than the charges in previous Monster Hunters. You know, whether or not your character is charged. It's still fairly easy to tell that your character is charged. Something that I've had difficulty in figuring out so far is how much is charged. It's still like 3 levels of charge, 2 levels of charge. I don't really know. But either way, we got a charge shot here, knocks him down. Here you can see that he's actually firing 2 arrows. Not sure if the quality on YouTube is going to allow you guys to see that, but there's an arrow right here, another arrow right here. So the second shot he took afterwards, the first shot was charged. The second shot actually was a double shot. Another shot to the chest there, just a regular shot. And then he dodged forward, and that seemed like a triple shot afterwards. Not sure how we're gonna be doing these crazy combos, but I think it's really cool that you're actually doing all of these combos instead of just like straight up firing. It looks like you're gonna be doing, it's almost like a melee weapon in a way, because you're going to be doing different kinds of attacks. And then this attack right here I thought was hilarious. Like, look at this. So he's going to fire. We can actually go frame to frame. He's going to fire this arrow up, and notice that there's a bag there, right? It's got this bag full of rocks. He's going to fire it up, and then watch this. The rocks are falling. Look at how long they fall for, though. It's like, holy crap. That's the bag of infinity rocks. That's what we're going to call that one. That is so cool. Anyway, we got a couple of more shots here. We see a headshot followed by another charge shot. That charge shot seemed to have some kind of electrical component to it. Either it was a bow or maybe it was some kind of a special coating that he put on the arrow. I don't know. Now we see another double slash triple shot. Couldn't really make it out. And then here, this right here is like such a beaut. It's like the animation work on this move. I mean, look at this. He goes back, slices the ground so that he lights up the arrow. Boom, explosive shot. That is awesome. The bow is looking pretty awesome. I can't say all that much about the bow because, like I said, I'm not much of a ranged user. So, yeah, there's just not a whole lot I can really say about that. Let's take a look at another weapon that I'm not particularly comfortable with, that I've pretty much never used, but I've always wanted to. It's just my friend told me not to because it was a bad idea, because this weapon's better used when there's more players, in my opinion. Let me actually go back a little bit. But yeah, this is the hunting horn. Now, those of you not familiar with Monster Hunter weapons might have been extremely confused by that specific weapon, the hunting horn. But let me try and cue you in. Think of the hunting horn as a bard's weapon in Monster Hunter. So it is a weapon that consists of buffing your team and yourself to increase damage, increase stamina regeneration, etc. There's a multitude of effects that you can get out of the hunting horn. And the way it works is basically, if I remember correctly, one of the buttons is always the button to play the weapon, and then the other button is to attack with the weapon. And depending on the position you end up at the end of an attack, the sound and like the note that you play is going to be different, and you have to play different notes in order to achieve different buffs for your party, which is why they're showcasing it like this. And you can hear him play the actual hunting horn. It's a pretty cool weapon in design, but ultimately it's a better weapon for team play. So you can see here, just like punching him, and now notice the position the weapon is in, like this. Plays one note, and now he's going to swap the position, plays a different note. It's going to activate a specific buff. And this is why they put another hunter in here, so that you can see that the buff is for your whole party, not just for yourself. So, I mean, it doesn't look like a lot of innovation so far in terms of the hunting horn. I guess the innovation will come in the form of probably simplifying it a little bit, because if I remember correctly, the previous hunting horns, you were required to play like 3 notes or something. And I think in this one, they're probably going to simplify it to 2 notes per buff, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to see when we actually get our hands on the game, basically. Anyway, continuing onwards. So you've seen bow, hunting horn, sword and shield. Let's go lance. There's a lot of weapons that I don't usually use in Monster Hunter. Lance is one of them, but I did go for lance for a while during Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, because it has this really cool charge attacks, and I'm very much into charge attacks that kind of have like explosion effects into them. You guys know me, I love a good explosion, so let's go. So this, if I'm not mistaken, was the first sort of tanking weapon in Monster Hunter, in the original Monster Hunter, because with this weapon you can actually block properly, unlike sword and shield. Like you see, you don't stagger. As a matter of fact, you even have a parry mechanic there. Oh, nice. A mounting charge? That is cool. That is cool. We got a mounting charge here. Okay, let me take another look at this. What is this? This is like this is the parry. This is the parry motion right here. You do that, and if the monster hits you while you do that, you get a parry off of it, I think. You got the usual thrusting. Blocking. There's the parry that I was talking about. They don't show a lot of charging, though, unfortunately. There's the mounting charge, and that's it. It's like, I really wish they showed more for this particular weapon, because this is a weapon that I'm very interested in, because it's such a tanky weapon. But the charges in previous Monster Hunters never, at least to me, they never felt very effective. But again, I'm not a lance hunter, so... But it's looking good. Particularly like the parry. I'm hoping there's a couple of more charge things. But this one right here is really cool. The way it charges and then it just like goes into a mounting attack. That's pretty sweet. That is pretty sweet. No, I didn't show dual wielding yet. I will show dual wielding in a bit. How about... Shown the lance, we've shown hunting horn. Let's go for light bowgun. Now here's a weapon that I've never used. Okay, so the light bowgun obviously taking the more agile approach to ranged combat. Now, the cool thing about the bow, and I'm trying to differentiate the ranged weapons here for those of you that are maybe Monster Hunter newbies, but the cool thing about the bow is that it is very good for placing status effects in monsters. Now, it seems that in this particular video, they're also showing you applying status effects using the light bowgun, and on top of that, they're using a lot of explosive ammunition as well as deploying some kind of mines. Pretty sure the mine mechanic is new, at least the way they do it. And it seems that they're focusing the light bowgun more on these burst type of shots where you get 3 shots off. But it's a very agile ranged weapon. So if you're into ranged weapons but you still want to keep yourself very mobile, looks like the light bowgun is going to be the one for you. So you can see right here, just like doing the dodge. From dodge into shooting, it's very seamless. Whereas I'm pretty sure it's not this seamless in current Monster Hunter iterations. Like this dodging into sliding into shooting. Like very well done. And you see the explosive shots right there. He puts shots onto the monster that then explode, which is pretty cool. You see the status effect from paralysis there, and as the monster is paralyzed, he drops down like those 3 mines, then he goes for some more explosive blasts. Man, this weapon's looking so good right now. God damn, this is gonna make me into a friggin' ranged user, this right here. So far, I gotta say, it's the weapon that I liked seeing the most in terms of range. Like, I really like the animation on the bow, but the burst shots in this and the friggin' mines, it just looks so good. It just looks so good. I really like it. Okay. That is the light bowgun. And I'm pretty much saving like the weapons that I'm more experienced with for last. So I guess, let me see here. We've done lance, sword and shield. Let's do heavy bowgun. This is the one that lit the world on fire when people saw it firing rapid fire at the it was either the trailer or the gameplay. But when people saw this weapon in rapid fire mode, they were like, "What the fuck? That looks insane." Let's take a look at it. Oh my god, I love that last snipe. So this weapon I'm not as much into. I have to be completely honest, I'm just not that into it. But this is the weapon you want to have if you are really into ranged and if you really want to dish out as much damage as possible at the cost of mobility. So this weapon is going to bring the punishment, but it's also going to bring the punishment to you if you can't predict the monster's moves effectively. So I think this particular weapon is going to be more for veteran Monster Hunter players than necessarily people who are playing for the very first time. I think this is going to be a fairly complex weapon to use. Now, you can see that the shots in here are much slower, except when he's in rapid fire mode. And then this is very important because this particular skill, as far as I'm aware, was not available in the heavy bowgun. This was a skill that was restricted to the gunlands. This skill was called Wyvern's Fire. It is now, I believe, a special kind of ammunition that you can put on your heavy bowgun, which is pretty damn cool. Like, to me, anything that adds even more explosions to the game, like Michael Bay the fuck out of Monster Hunter, I'm cool with that. I like explosions. Also, look at the recoil on that thing. Boom! It's like he goes inside the mountain when the friggin' thing shoots. It's awesome. Anyway, you can see a couple of just like slow shots here and there. This is just them showing you like how slow this weapon's actually going to fire. Another explosive round that gets stuck on the monster's head. I'm assuming that this one, considering the size of it, which you can see right here, considering the size of it, it's going to be more effective than the explosive rounds that you get on the light Bogan, obviously at the cost of mobility, like we discussed. He knocks down the monster here, goes for it. Now this right here, a friend of mine really loves this type of ammunition. He uses currently on the current iterations of Monster Hunter. He uses this on his light bowgun. I'm not sure if they're going to restrict this type of ammunition to the heavy bowgun in Monster Hunter World, but this is called the cluster, and the cluster round pretty much is going to explode on the monster's face, and if you pay close attention, you will see that it's going to fragment, hence the name cluster. We can only really see one fragment here, which is this, but there are more fragments spread throughout the monsters, which is why you will see the multiple explosions in a bit here. Boom, you see just like multiple explosions. That's because that thing explodes like a cluster and therefore then just drops a bunch of bombs on top of the monster. I have a friend of mine who just loves using these. That's all he does. I think he's actually becoming a noob because of that, but that's all I'll say about that. And then you see the beautiful Wyvern's Fire. I don't get enough of this skill. Boom. I used to play Gunlance in Monster Hunter Freedom Unite specifically because I loved Wyvern's Fire so much. It's such a cool looking skill. And then you see the rapid fire once again. And this right here, I had not seen this before. This is some kind of sniper position. And it seems that it's going to be shooting some kind of explosive piercing shot. At least that's the only description that I can come up with for this specific shot. Like, look, he hits the monster. It kind of seems like it goes through him. And then at the end, explosions all over the monster's body. Therefore, to me, this is a piercing, multi-explosive shot. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. Beautiful. Beautiful weapon. I remember clusters not being mortar shots. Yeah, Paladin Leroy. They weren't. But I think they're going to be in this one. So, now that we went through all those, let's start going through weapons that I've actually used. And we'll start it off with the Greatsword. Greatsword, not one of my favorite weapons, but it is the favorite weapons of a lot of Monster Hunter veterans, which is why it was the weapon of choice to be shown at the trailer of the video game. Now, if you guys watched Monster Hunter trailer, you will no doubt have seen this particular character wielding this particular weapon. So the thing about the Greatsword, for those of you that aren't aware, is that in previous Monster Hunters, at least, you could charge it up to level 3. Once you charge it up, you release it, goes down on the monster. It was one of the hardest hitting weapons in the game, which is why a lot of veterans would use it, because the veterans would know the move sets of the monsters. They would know when it's safe to charge up versus when it's not safe to charge up, and then they would just unleash the weapon against the monster. Another thing this weapon can do is it can also block. So let's have a look at it. I love the animation work that they're doing for this weapon. So an interesting point here, again, for those of you that aren't familiar with this weapon, is notice this particular subtle attack. So he slashes it down, then he bashes it from the side. And you guys might think that's just him repositioning. No, that's an actual attack. And the difference is that whereas the first hit, like this is slashing, this is blunt. And this is very important because, again, this can be used to knock out monsters, stun monsters, all that kind of stuff. And it's why It's important for you to differentiate these types of moves, like I've mentioned with the sword and shield. Whenever he hits him with the shield, that's a blunt hit. Whenever he hits him with the sword, that's a slashing hit. And these have different effects in the monsters. And then you have this really cool animation here, which is he hits and then he leaps over the sword itself to do a follow-up hit. It's just beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Here we go. First slash. Back off. A little bit of a shoulder thrust. I'm not sure what's up with that. And it also had some kind of special effect to it, if you really pay attention. I'm not sure what kind of move is that. I don't think that was available in the current Monster Hunters, but it looked weird. Because, again, notice how there's some kind of sparks coming off when he hits him like that. I'm not sure if that's like the monster seeing stars or what's the deal. But it looks like there was some kind of special effect to that charge that knocked him. Either way, that charge is obviously, again, blunt attack. Hitting monsters with blunt attacks in the head increases the amount of the chances of the monster getting stunned. You also saw him block there. Did he actually block a hit? He did. Notice that this weapon actually blocks better than sword and shield. Because, like, if you notice, he barely gets knocked back from the hit, right? Bank. Whereas the sword and shield, you get knocked way back. However, the downside of blocking with this weapon is that it's going to dull your weapon way faster, which is going to require you to sharpen it more often. Now, an interesting thing here is he's using the shoulder charge to get an opening in the monster. Like, look at this, right there. Like, I don't know what that was because it seemed like he was charging the weapon. And then he went from like, this is a charge. He's clearly charging the weapon. And then he went from a charge into a shoulder thrust. So you can interrupt charges and counterattack. This is a very important thing, okay? Because at this moment, I think you can only interrupt charges to dodge. I don't think you can interrupt the charge into a counterattack, particularly one as devastating as this. Like, he's charging it up, counter, hits the monster staggers wildly, and now he's going to have enough time to charge it up twice. That's level 2. Boom, straight to the face. So, like, that is going to be super important for people who love greatsword. They're going to go crazy with shit like this. The fact you can interrupt a greatsword charge into a shoulder thrust that knocked the monster down into another charge, like, this is crazy. This is like a fucking solar eclipse happening all at the same time as the moon is on its highest stage. I can't even fucking describe it. Like, the amount of things that you would have, you know, in order to get these sorts of conditions in current Monster Hunter is just insane. Anyway, that is Greatsword. Greatsword also looking really, really sexy. Now on to dual blades. I used a ton of dual blades in Generations, mostly because of Aerial, because usually I don't play dual blades that much, but like Aerial made it so much fun. Let's take a look at these. Holy shit! Oh my god. Okay, let's take a look at something. This is like, you guys know that meme that has McMahon from wrestling where it's like, oh, that's like all of the dual blade main users during just the intro of this video. That's them going like that. They go like, oh. It's like, when you see this part, you're just like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. Look at this. Whee! He's a helicopter. I think this move is insane. Look at this. Whee! I'm a helicopter. They said I could be anything, so I became a helicopter. So cool. Super fast. This is like, for people who like fast-paced melee action, that's what this is all about. So here you see the basic combo. He dodges backward, goes into demon mode, And in demon mode, he actually swaps the position of the blades. That is really cool. And you can see that in demon mode, combos extend. This is even more detailed combos than we are currently getting in Monster, like way more detailed. But this is crazy. This is some pinwheel crazy ass shit. So for starters, I gotta say, something that I gotta call out right here is the beautiful anime. Like for starters, I can't even articulate right now. So you got the basic combo. Now he's going to back off. He's going to go into demon mode. So the way that these weapons work, and I'm talking about dual blades for those of you, again, just for the Monster Hunter newbies that are just getting into this right now and figuring out if they want to get involved in Monster Hunter World or not. So the way dual blades work is essentially you attack for a little bit, but ultimately what you want to do is you want to conserve your stamina, go into demon mode. Once you go into demon mode, which is what he's about to do here, your moveset becomes more aggressive, which is represented here when he's holding the blades like this, and then he swaps the position. The blades come from below, and he's going at it like, you know, ninja style. And that is you building up your demon gauge meter, so to speak. Once that thing fills up, you basically get to stay in that mode for a certain period of time without necessarily requiring to constantly consume your stamina. Basically, once you go into demon mode, your stamina is always decreasing. And once you manage to fill up your demon meter, then you can stay in that mode without having your stamina always decreasing. So basically it's important to look for openings in the monster and then swapping the demon mode, chopping the monster up as much as you possibly can so that you can get permanent demon mode. Well, not permanent, but, you know, get a little bit more demon mode in there. And the moveset drastically changes, which is what you can see. I mean, if we look at the combo that he does at the very start, just look at this very simplistic combo. Slice, 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 slice. Okay, all good. Now, demon mode. Slice, slice. Now he's going to go in, watch this. Slice, 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 slash, carve, carve more, slash, 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 crazy jump, slash. And now he's going to go into fucking... He's like a shuriken going through the monster. It's beautiful to see. Like this right here, this aerial attack is fucking amazing. And this is why I use them so much in aerial and Generations. But yeah, this is Duels. And Duels is looking fucking fantastic. And I know already that probably a great majority of players is going to be rocking the Duels. And that's a good thing. Because Duels are fucking amazing. Look at this. This move right here. Whew. My pants are feeling tight. You know what I'm saying? Okay. That is Duels. Now, what are we going to look at now? Now we're getting into the weapons that I really like. I mean, obviously, sword and shield is one of my favorite weapons too, but now we're getting into weapons that I like. Longsword, probably the least of which, but let's take a look at the longsword. So, concept of the longsword is you attack the monster up into a point where you build this gauge on your sword. The mechanic might be slightly different here, but there's a gauge on your sword that you build up as you attack. And once that gauge fills up to a certain amount, you'll want to try and do a special attack. And that special attack needs to connect. The last hit of that attack needs to hit the monster. It's usually a very elaborate attack. I'm not sure if they're going to show it in this video. But if you manage to hit the very last of that attack in the monster, that means your sword levels up, so to speak, for a period of time, and it becomes more powerful. And then you repeat the process, and you can level it up to 3 times, each time increasing the amount of damage dealing. So longsword is very much a weapon where you have to be aware that you're constantly going to be needing to hit the monster to keep the weapon buffed, so to speak. So let's see what they got here. That is awesome looking. Okay, so first of all, shout out to the Rathalos set. This is a Rathalos set right here in beautiful, gorgeous HD. I mean, as beautiful as it's going to look since this is a video I downloaded from YouTube. But this is a beautiful looking Rathalos set. Should kick in the nostalgia for anyone who's ever played Monster Hunter. Now, here I'm assuming this is the special attack he's got. He only did the first move of the special attack, which you actually have to do more moves in order to level up your sword, but this is what the special attack opening move looks like. Other than that, he didn't really do much here, just showed a couple of basic combo attacks, a thrust, and then the special attack before he went into the action. So, here, a couple of things. We got a thrusting attack, which is kind of like in previous Monster Hunters, this was the move that you used to unite your combos. So you would do a basic combo, and then you would go into a thrusting attack, and then you would continue the combo, so basically the thrusting attack would link your combos together, allowing you to combo into infinity, so long as you wouldn't be interrupted by the monster. Now here is the dodge move. This is usually pressing both the attack buttons simultaneously, and a direction, and your character will attack and dodge in that direction. And the reason you need a move like this for the longsword is because, as you can see, the attacks on the longsword are not necessarily fast, and the longsword can't block. So it needs to have a specific move that is dedicated to dodging so that you can, evade the monster's attacks. And that's how you do that. Then you see a couple of basic slashes. Now, this right here is the beginning of the special attack that I told you guys about. And I actually really like the camera angle they used because it's very samurai-like. Like, if you look at this camera angle here, this is almost like whenever you see two samurai in a movie going at it, you see this profile as the samurai cross each other, and then one of them falls down. I think this is kind of the idea they were going for with this particular camera angle. But anyways, that is a special attack. Let's have a look at it. One attack, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the very last hit. See, that last hit that knocked the monster over, if you don't hit, if that hit does not connect, your sword does not level up to the next level, and you have to try again, basically. And since the combo usually uses the gauge a little bit, you will have to keep attacking. So it's very important that you connect the entirety of this attack if you want to level up your weapon. And you guys are like, how do you know that's a special attack? Because usually after the special attack, he sheathes his weapon like so. So yeah, that's a special attack, and the special attack will level up the sword. We'll get it to deal more damage. And then here, this is an interesting thing that I haven't seen before. Again, notice how he's going to interrupt an attack to go into some kind of counter. It's not really a counter, it's a dodge. But it was like a perfect dodge or something because it got this special effect on it. Like, see right there? He dodges, and then he gets to do a counter move, which is brutal. And beautiful. I love it when they springboard off the monster. I think that is just, like, beautiful moves. So, what I'm predicting for the longsword is that they're not going to force you every time to do this attack, which is like what I've been calling the special attack. I don't think they're going to force you to do this every time to level up your sword. What I think they're going to do is they're going to let you do stuff like this, and if you do this properly, that will also allow you to level up your sword. So I think you're going to have more moves that will allow you to level up the sword, so that it's a little bit more dynamic and not as much of you just like building up your meter and then expending it in one special combo and then getting the level up. I think it's going to be more about, as I was saying, it's going to be more about dynamic and being able to switch it up a little bit, which is cool. It's looking really cool. Next up, let's look at the Charge Blade. I was addicted to the Charge Blade in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, and it is still one of my favorite weapons in the game. The reason I got tired of it is because it requires a lot of things in order to set up the biggest possible hit with this weapon. It will require you to charge your weapon, then charge your shield, then enchant your shield, then go into axe mode, and then finish a combo, and then at the end there's this big payoff, but ultimately there's a lot of setup involved in that, and that's kind of why I got a little bit bored of the Charge Blade, but it is still a weapon that I'm very much passionate about. A lot of you guys might look at this and think, it just looks like Sword and Shield, but pay close attention. So this might eventually be the weapon I actually start with. I'm so indecisive because it's just like I have to admit I miss the Charge Blade. I haven't played Charge Blade in a long time, and I miss playing it. And it's such a great weapon, such a cool move set. So like for instance here, you see this. This right here is basically you attacking the monster with the shield. And this would also set you up for a special attack that you can do afterwards where you put that thing on top of the sword, becomes a giant axe. And usually after you do this, you'd be able to just combo into the ultimate explosion for the weapon, which is very, very satisfying. This attack right here is the bread and butter of the Charge Blade. This attack right here. It's 2 slashes, and you need to charge the blade before you do those 2 slashes. The reason why it's bread and butter is because the best buildup of charges for this weapon. This weapon requires reloads and charges and all these other things, and that attack right there is the best way of charging it up. Okay. This is an axe mode. And then here, you can see, again, that attack that I was talking about. And an important thing to notice, let me go frame by frame here. You guys see the weapon right here is glowing red. That means it's fully charged. And once it's fully charged, you watch him dodge away. I love the dodging animations on this, by the way. And after he dodges away, he's going to put the sword inside the shield. Watch. Sword inside the shield. Charge. See, this is how you charge stuff, basically. And now it's charged, which means now he can go into axe mode. Notice how he swaps into axe mode. I love the animation on it, too. Just like seeing this in slow-mo for the first time. Like, look at it. Just look at this. We're going to go frame by frame so that you guys can watch it. He puts the sword inside the shield to charge it. Instantly transitions into axe mode. Watch it shift. It opens up, goes back. No, that was just the load. Now it's going to open up into axe mode. See, he's already swinging it, but the weapon is still transforming. Weapons opens up, swings around, locks in place, and it's an axe. And notice how the weapon is glowing yellow. That's because it's fully charged, and now it's going to drop explosions on the monster. The way this works is he hits the monster. After a while, the monster is going to explode. So there's the hit to the head. Monster actually falls down. Notice the monster's head is glowing yellow because it's got the effect from the Charge Blade. Charge Blade also glowing yellow. The monster's head is about to explode. He's going to do it again. This is actually, is this the ultimate? No, this is the second swing. Boom, it's going to hit the leg. Leg's going to glow yellow. Eventually it will explode as well. And then, boom, there's the explosion on the leg. And now he's going to go for the head. Oh, no, he's transforming it back. Oh, yeah, he's charging it even further to do the final hit. I forgot that it goes back for another charge before the final hit. And then the final hit, boom. And that hit is going to hurt like a motherfucker. That is awesome. That is friggin' awesome. Then you got the sliding attacks right there. Charging it up. And this is the biggest, I think, explosion. Yeah, this is the big explosion. In order to achieve this explosion, basically you have to charge your weapon, charge your axe, then do a combo, interrupt it by hitting shield block. This will charge your shield, and after both the blade and the shield are charged, then you do the ultimate, which amounts to this. And that's why I got a little bit bored of it. Like, I loved it, but constantly doing this thing of like, charge the weapon, now charge the shield, now both of them are charged, now set it up, and now do the ultimate combo. It became a little bit frustrating. I got tired of kind of like constantly repeating that mechanic. It's a fairly complex weapon, but it's so good. So good. Okay, so we've seen bow, charge blade, dual blades, great sword. We haven't seen gun, lance, or hammer. We've seen heavy bowgun, hunting horn, insect glaive, lance, light bowgun, longsword, switch. We haven't seen switch axe either. I'm gonna save switch axe for last. So let's take a look at the gun lance. Love this weapon. Love this weapon. Okay, so a couple of nuances here. Works pretty much like none of these things are kind of like new to the gun lance. All of the things shown in the intro of the video are part of the course. That's Wyvern's Fire, like I told you. You guys remember we saw it in the heavy Bogan as well. Wyvern's Fire. That was one of the reasons why I went gun lance the first time and why I loved it so much. The other reason is because this is an incredibly tanky weapon. Very much like the lance, you get the big shield, therefore you can actually block with it. And here, I'm not sure why this is what they picked, because this feels like a very noobish combo here, where he hits the monster, then he fires twice. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Usually what you would do is you would use the shooting, the gun lance, to essentially chain your combos together. So you would go first swing, which is an upward swing, kind of, which is, I think is the first thing that he does in this combo, right? Let me see that again. Yeah. So you go with that first swing. That's the biggest. That's like the biggest damage that you could do with a single hit at the very start of the fight. So you get that one, and usually what you would do is then you would do the thrusting ones, which I think is going to do one of those. Yeah. So you would hit the big upward swing, then you would hit two of those, and then you would shoot, because if you continue to hit, it would go for a downward swing. So what you would want to do is like you would go upward swing, thrust, thrust, shoot, thrust, thrust, shoot, thrust, thrust, finish, shoot. You know, that's the kind of combo you could do, which is why I was so confused when I saw this the first time, because he's going like, yeah, I missed my two thrusts and now I'm going to shoot him twice because fuck it. Like, I don't understand. But either way, you know, I guess it's just showcasing the gun lance a little bit, but it's not, I mean, it's just weird for me because like with the other weapons, they do these fantastic combos in these videos. And then with the gun lance, it's just like they gave the remote to the intern and they were like, here you go, attack the monster a couple of times and we'll make a video out of it. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm pro or anything like that, but that combo is pretty fucking lousy. Then you see the reload mechanic there, which you will also have to reload your gun lance from time to time. You saw the block. Here you see the finisher. That right there is a finisher. Wait, it's not this one. This is a finisher attack, because basically what happens when you do that with that downward swing is it expends all of the shells that you have available in the gun lance and just throws them all at the monster. It's almost like a, here, fire everything, boom, which is very effective when you want to deal burst damage, particularly if you want to break a specific part and the monster happens to be vulnerable at that point in time. That is the perfect time to use an attack like that. Personally, I used to go, like I said, thrust, thrust, shoot, thrust, thrust, shoot, and then thrust, thrust, downward, boom. That's the way that I would usually go about things, unless the monster was getting ready to move. Then I might go for a final hit like that. Now this is new right here. This seems like some kind of a parry move, which lances usually have parry moves, because you can see him that he's in position and he's just waiting. And then he attacks, and he puts something right up the monster's nostril. Like, this is sadistic as fuck. This is some fucked up shit. He literally fired something into the monster's nostril. And look at him. The monster's like, oh my God. Look at the size of that thing. Look at what he just put in the monster. He just attached that to the monster. And the monster's going like, no, what's this? Oh, it hurts so much. It's like he put half of the gun lance in the monster's nostril. The monster's like, stop! There's fire coming all over his face. Stop! I can't take it anymore. He's breathing fire right now. Boom! It explodes. Holy shit. That is insane. Look at the size of the explosion. It keeps going. Oh my God. This is so... It's like the most sadistic thing I've ever seen. Oh my God. And people were talking earlier on this live stream about there's no blood in this game. There's not enough violence. Is this violent enough for you? Like, this is some fucked up shit. Look at this. Look at oh my God. Look at it. We're going to see it again. Take it. Boom. Oh my God. And then the Wyvern's Fire for good measure. Jesus Christ. That is awesome. That is just like, I mean, it started bad with the really bad combo, but like this fucking thing is like, now I want to play the Gunlance too. I'm just like, God damn it, I can't make up my mind about which weapon I'm going to start with. Look at this. Chunk. Oh my God. And then the Wyvern's Fire. Oh my God. Gunlance is looking so good. So good. Michael Bay that shit. Oh man, that is so good. I loved it. I loved it. It's just like I'm in love with this weapon right now. I don't know. I like the Charge Blade, but I'm thinking I might go back to the Gunlance after watching that. It's just like I need my Gunlance fix, dude. Like I'm gonna be able. You're telling me I'm gonna be able to place explosives up a monster's nostril, make him breathe? Like I'm not even kidding, guys. Like seriously, look at this. He fucking breathes fire when he gets hit with that. Watch. We have to watch it again. It's for science. Like, look at this. It's right up his nostril, right there. Like, this is left nostril, right nostril. Thing is right in his fucking nostril, right there. Chunk. And he's like, oh shit, this hurts. This hurts like a motherfucker. Oh my God, it's on fire. Why is it on fire? Oh no, what is going on? And now, if you pay close attention, there's a frame. Where is it? There's a frame right here. You can actually see fire coming out of the other. So like the fire's going in one nostril, coming out of the other. It's like, oh my God, what is going? The monster has to be going like batshit insane. He's like, what is going on? Why am I breathing fire? Why is there fire everywhere? Make it stop. No. He's like, oh my God, this is so good. This is so good. This is beautiful right here. Beautiful. So far, my favorite weapon presentation. Okay, so let me take another look at the list. We've been going down this list. We got the hammer and the insect glaive to go, and then the switch axe is going to be the last one. So I guess we'll do insect glaive. So insect glaive, also a weapon that I've used to great extent in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate because, as you guys are aware, I was addicted to aerial playstyle, to mounting, which, I mean, 4 Ultimate didn't have styles, but it was the first game to introduce mounting, and I love mounting, therefore I went with the Insect Glaive because you could constantly jump and spam mount on top of monsters. So, let's take a look at it. Okay, so I love aerial playstyle, and therefore you'd figure I would love this weapon, but there's actually a lot of things that I didn't like about it. I think the weapon looks great. I think it looks like a lot of fun, but I think it exaggerates way too much. So first, let's talk about the existing mechanics of the weapon. So you got just a basic couple of combos in here, and then you throw the Kinsect, and then you see the jump. This is part of course. So very first thing I want to tell you guys about the insect mechanic, for those of you that aren't aware, let me just get to the insect bit and then we'll talk about all this crazy air juggling that he's doing. Okay, so right there, notice how he's throwing an insect. Insect goes in, hits monster in the head, starts glowing red. That is your attack damage buff. So basically what this is a mechanic specific to the insect glaives, which is you throw this Kinsect. Kinsect goes in, harvests something from the monster, brings it back, and that gives you a buff. The buff that he's going to get out of the red glow is going to be an attack buff. And now he's going to do it again. He's going to go for the belly, and the monster's coming back glowing white. The belly is an affinity buff. So this does a multitude of things. For starters, if I'm not mistaken, because again, it's been a while since I've researched insect glaive or whatever, but if I'm not mistaken, increases the damage that Increases the multiplier that you're getting on your damage buff. So basically, you will deal even more damage because now you have an affinity buff. And on top of it, it is also increasing the damage that your damage buff is already giving you. You have a bonus to mounting in previous monster hunters. So basically, this would increase the chance of your aerial attacks resulting in a mount attack, which I don't think is going to be the same thing for this. I don't think it's going to be as random as like, oh, there's a chance that you will mount a monster this time around. I think it's going to be a little bit different, but I'm not 100% sure. But that is the mechanic that I like. I grew a little bit tired of the constant need for you to throw the Kinsect, which is why I kind of stopped using Insect Glaive. But particularly because like sometimes you'll be going after certain monsters that are very nimble, very agile, and it makes it very hard for you to basically get all three buffs for your weapon. And essentially this weapon is not as strong as other weapons if you're not using the buff mechanics. So that's very important if you're planning on using Insect Glaive. And now for the reason as to why I kind of like am not a huge fan of what this particular weapon is looking like. It's this. Like, this looks like a lot of fun. Like, this is the basic jumping mechanic. This was already available. So you jump, and basically you fall on top of the monster, and you get an aerial attack. But now, this is the new part. Like, he's going to keep boosting himself through the air. So here's boost number 1. He attacks. Then he jumps again. Boost number 2. Boost number 3 while still in the air, and attacks again. And still in the air. Boost number 4 is like, what? What is that? Rocket propeller? He's got a fucking rocket attached to the spear? I mean, I don't know. I think it looks like a lot of fun. I think it looks really fun. Don't get me wrong. But I think it's taking Monster Hunter to a level of fantasy that, I mean, obviously, this whole game is fantasy. Let's face it. You're fighting giant monsters with oversized weapons. The whole thing is a fucking fantasy. But, like, now you're flying. On top of all the things that, like, look at this. He just, like, literally stops mid-air. Is like, fuck physics. Fuck physics, I'm an Insect Glaive. Boom, I'm going this way now. It's like, I think it's a little, like, if it was one, like, you could get one thrust off. But, like, he does this non-stop. I think it's too much. I don't know about you guys. But, yeah, of course. It's great. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But it's a little bit too immersion breaking for me. Maybe I'm being a hypocrite. I don't know. But I love aerial play. I'm probably going to try it out. But I do feel it's a little bit too much. I mean, look at this. He's literally flying on this first attack. Like right here. Watch. He's going to jump and then he's going to just start flying around. Like, I'm Superman. Whee! Now I go this way. Now I go that way. Now I go this way. And now I go this way, and now I go this way, and I'm like, whoa, 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 dude, you're going to write your name in the skies like a friggin' stunt plane. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I find this to be too much. It doesn't bother me. It's just one of those things that I'm not sure I'm comfortable. But then again, maybe I'll start playing with it, and I'll be like having so much fun I won't even care. But the first impression is a little, I don't know. I think there's too much flying on that weapon. There's just a little bit too much aerial mobility, but it still looks like a really fun weapon, though. Gotta say. Still looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay, now what do we have left? We have the hammer, and then the switch axe. Let's go for the hammer then. Oh my god, that last section, I love it. And they're also not showing one of the coolest hammer attacks in here. We've seen in the gameplay video, we've seen an attack where the hammer actually spins, the user actually spins like friggin' Sonic. Like that attack was pretty cool. They're not showing that one here. But a couple of things on the hammer again for the more Monster Hunter newbies out there. The concept of the hammer is that it's a very slow weapon, deals a lot of damage, and you guys, and it's also a charge-based weapon, so you're going to be charging your attacks. And guys are wondering, okay, so what's the big difference between hammer and greatsword, because greatsword is essentially kind of like the same thing. It's a big weapon, deals a lot of damage, etc., etc. The two main differences between it are, number one, mobility, because you're much more mobile when you're with the hammer. And number two, whereas the weapon does slashing damage, mostly slashing damage, the hammer does all blunt damage. And you guys wonder, so what's the big deal between that? Well, that means that the hammer is better at stunning monsters than the greatsword, and the greatsword is able to slash tails, and the hammer is not. The hammer cannot, at least it couldn't, unless they changed something in this Monster Hunter, it could not slash tails. And that is the main reason why the hammer has always been more of a side weapon for me, as opposed to a main weapon for me. Because the friend of mine that I usually play with, he plays a gunner, therefore he can't chop tails. So if we need to chop tails, it has to be me. And the hammer can't chop tails, therefore I tend to go to other weapons when we need to chop a tail. But every now and then I will rock the hammer, and I really, really like rocking the hammer because it's just very satisfying to knock down a monster. It's just very satisfying. So let's get into a couple of moves here. This is the basic side attack. This is the basic uppercut. This is your basic charge. And now we see here he's charging. See, that's one of the main differences. Whereas with the greatsword, when you're charging, you can't move. If you're charging the great hammer, you can still move. Like you can see him. He's moving around. He's still charging. Now that he's fully charged, he's going to go for a downward swing to the head, which is exactly what you want to do with something like the hammer. You want to hit the monster in the head in order to stun it. See, they didn't put the intern doing this one. Again, another swing to the head, and this is showcasing different levels of charge. So, like, this is the exact same attack, but one of it is charged and the other one is not. So, this is what it looks like when it's charged. This will actually hit the monster as well, by the way. Wait, the horizontal move that he does, like so, this also hits the monster as it's going around, and then there's the big downward attack. And then this is like when it's not fully charged. It's just like an uppercut type thing. Now this is usually a special attack that you get right now in Generations. But in here, I'm not sure what the context. I'm not sure how you're going to be able to do this one. But it looks like maybe it's more charges. Once you have more charges, you can actually do an attack like this, which is beast mode. And this is just beautiful. Bonk, 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 like he's mining. It's like Minecraft. It is awesome. Like the amount of times he smashed that monster in the head. Oh yeah, something I forgot to mention. Hammer is also better at breaking parts, usually, because of the type of damage that it's doing. But yeah, the moveset on the hammer is looking really cool. But again, most likely I'll have to go for a cutting weapon because I'll be playing with my friend, and therefore I will need to have a cutting weapon as my main so that we can chop tails. I love this. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Very, very cool. Very cool. Not as cool as the gun lance, but very, very cool. And now, what I would consider my current main weapon, the switch axe. Let's take a look at it. Okay, lots of really cool things. So first, let's talk a little bit about the switch axe as a weapon for those of you that don't know how it works. The switch axe is, in its essence, the base weapon is an axe, but it transforms into a sword, which is weird because you're like, isn't it called the switch axe? Yeah, because it switches from an axe into a sword. Therefore, they call it the switch axe. But essentially, there's this gauge that you have, as with most other Monster Hunter weapons. There's a gauge that you have that you're required to charge up while you're in axe mode, and then when you switch to sword mode, the gauge starts depleting. So that's how it works. Like, sword mode is the more powerful mode of the weapon. Axe mode is the mode you use while you're building up to use the sword mode. And then you have special attacks. Like, this is in sword mode. In sword mode, usually you will get some kind of special effect depending on which weapon you're crafting. Different weapons will have different effects. Usually some elemental effects, some different things that can happen, which is cool. And then this is the special attack in sword mode, which almost looks like a Wyvern's Fire. It's not exactly like a Wyvern's Fire, but it is a similar mechanic. It basically charges up, shoots. Difference here is you charge up right in the monster's face, because it's going to be dealing damage as it's charging up, which is what you'll see him do here. So first, you're going to see the axe combo, including one of the more iconic moves, which is pay attention to when he swings the axe upwards from down to up, and then you will see that he instantly starts going like side to side to side to side. That's an infinite combo, basically. You can keep, well, not infinite. It's basically a combo you can keep doing while your stamina lasts. You'll see him do that. This is just, I guess this was just them showing it that you can still do that combo in Monster Hunter World. It's like, here it comes. The upward attack. And now watch. They're going to go side to side to side to side. Bang, 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 bang. That's an infinite combo while your stamina lasts, basically. Here you're going to see the transformation attack. Like, you can actually see it go from an axe into a sword. Wait, we were a little bit too slow. Okay. He thrusts, and now he's going to press the switch button and watch the weapon transform. And as it transforms, it is now a sword, and the sword should glow red because it's probably enchanted with fire or something like that. And it will deal more damage than in its axe form, or it will apply different debuffs. And here, you see the Wyvern's Fire special attack I told you guys about. Notice how it's dealing damage every step of the way, which is awesome, which is why I really like this weapon. Every step of the way it deals damage. And then it explodes. Big explosion to the face. Now you're just looking at regular combo attacks. And then this is new, and it's really beautiful. I love it. Like, let's watch this one in slow-mo. He's going to hit the monster in the head. Wait. Damn it. Artifacting. Sorry about that artifacting. It's what you get when you're messing around with the LC for too long. Okay, here it goes. He's prepping up. This is a new attack. I've never seen this before. So he's prepping it up. It almost seems like he's doing that same attack he was doing earlier. The difference is it's going to attach the monster. Like right there. Chunk. He grabs onto the monster. Now he's going to stab him with the weapon. And it's going to explode. He blasts it right in his face. And I love the fact that he grabs onto the monster. Sorry about that. I'm still a little bit sick. But that is awesome. Let's see that one again. It is looking beautiful, people. It is looking beautiful. So now I'm curious about what you guys think. I want to know, out of those weapons, which one is your favorite? How about that? How about that, you guys? Those of you potentially watching later down the line as a VOD, and those of you in chat right now, what weapon? Which one was your favorite weapon? Like mine, out of all those, straight up, give me that gun lance. Give me that gun lance. All about the gun lance over here. But the game is looking friggin' fantastic. I cannot get enough of it, and just watching these weapons now, beautiful. So I see a hammer, I see Charge Blade and hammer. Endless War going for the hammer right there. Alvin Muhammad, Charge Blade and hammer, and Switch Axe. Great sword for Ahmed Al-Mizbah. Sijinko going for the long sword. Kegaran going for dual blades and insect glaive. Oh wow, it's scrolling a little bit too fast now. Parker Douglas, dual blades. Adrian Bell, long sword. Majid Al-Tami, charge blade. Nabals can't decide between duels and the great sword. Megan Tyrone, switch axe. Paladin Leroy, dual blades greatsword. Alvin Muhammad, switch axe mounting discharge finisher, so awesome. Finky 008, did I miss bowguns and bow? Yeah, I already did those. The Tiki hunting horn, of course. Lapo Calzolari, switch axe for the win. Paladin Leroy, haven't seen the sword and shield. The player of V, all the guns. Will always be a diehard gunner, but light bowgun looked sweet this game. Sage Shift, stuck between switch axe and dual blades. Endless War, I'm a simple man. Hammer and just smash. Jacob McKenzick, all the swords. Paladin Leroy, adding dual blades, greatsword, and switch axe. Jacob McKenzick, greatsword, sword and shield. Dual blades, long swords. Jinko, charge blade, always awesome. Johnny Sandergaard, all melee weapons except hunting horn. Oh man, singling out the hunting horn. Emdian, greatsword and longsword. I've seen very little longswords. Very little longswords. Very little sword and shield as well. Let's put that trailer up again. Neagle going for the gun lance. Switch axe and hammer for Omar D. Dual blades, charge blade, Decian, Bolto, Lumen Zach, greatsword. No love for lance. Lol. Evade lancing was always exciting. Weebine. Shiv Happy 22, all of them. Derpzilla, Insect Glaive, I want to fly. Anyway, you guys, thank you all very much for showing up for this live stream. I'm super excited about Monster Hunter World. I'm going to be checking it out when I go to Gamescom. I'm already in contacts with Socks from the Monster Hunter team. At least Socks, get me in there, Socks. Get me in there, man. But anyway... hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. If you did enjoy it, please hit that like button. Helps out a lot. If you're new here, subscribe so that you're always notified whenever there's a new live stream, all that good stuff. And if you're watching this later as a VOD, comments, feedback, always appreciated. Thank you all very much for hanging out here with me today, fiddling around with all of the weapons that were announced. Hopefully you're all as excited as I am for Monster Hunter World. And yeah, that's going to be it for today's stream. Thank you guys very much. I'm going to be streaming a little bit later on Twitch as well. Feel free to join me there. See you guys then.